Bonjour, c'est Clara French in the Midlands. In today's video, I've attempted to simplify the c'est versus il est debate. It's a really complex subject. There's lots and lots of different situations where you could use one, the other one, both, but what I've done here is really oversimplified it so you really have those two categories in your head and you can understand why we use one rather than the other. The general rule I want you to bear in mind, and that's a very, very general rule, is we're going to use c'est to describe an experience or a situation when you describe the whole thing as opposed to a specific thing. For instance, if you walk into a house and you say, ah, c'est grand, or you could say, c'est grand ici, it's big in here. What you're talking about is your experience of the big house. It feels big, so you will say c'est grand. But you could also walk in and say elle est grande, because we're talking about la maison specifically. We're not talking about your experience of walking in. You're not talking about the feeling of space. You're stating a fact, saying the house is big. And that's where the elle est will describe a specific thing or a person as opposed to c'est. So bear that in mind for now. And in the next few slides, we'll actually dig in with a few more examples. Before we carry on, I just want to say you can claim your free ebook, The 12 Golden Rules of French, at the link in the description. It's perfect for beginners. Or if you want to study a bit of French to be more conversationally fluent, if you want to string sentences together from day one with everyday expressions and vocab, this course is for you. So click the link and see what it's about. So c'est, we use it to mean it is, this is, and that is. So you will use it for objects or situations, but for descriptions mostly. For instance, when you say c'est agréable d'avoir un grand jardin, it's nice to have a big garden. What you're talking about is not the garden by itself, because otherwise you would have said il est agréable, it is nice, because the garden is a he. You're talking about your experience of the big garden, it's nice. Therefore it's going to be c'est. And the next one, c'est ta maison? Is this your house? You see, it's the this is or that is situation. C'est très spacieux ici. It's very spacious in here. Again, if you talked about the house, you could say elle est très spacieuse. Fine, but here you're talking about your experience of walking in and say, oh, it feels very spacious. And because in French we don't have a way of saying it feels spacious, then we'll use c'est très spacieux. Il est means it is for an object or he is for a person. So we'll use it for specific masculine objects, animals or people. You can't use c'est for people, obviously. For instance, if you say to someone, c'est ton chien? Il est beau. Is this your dog? He's beautiful. You see, because we know what you're talking about, ton chien, it's the last thing that was mentioned, and it's a masculine animal. So you'd say il est beau. You wouldn't say c'est beau, because the dog isn't an object. C'est mon portable, il est tout neuf. This is my mobile, it's brand new. Now, because un portable is a masculine object, it's the last thing that was mentioned. We know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the mobile. It's brand new, il est tout neuf. Je trouve pas mon sac. Il est probablement dans la voiture. Same thing here. I can't find my bag. It's probably in the car. So you've mentioned the bag. It's a masculine object. It's the last thing mentioned. Therefore, il est is what you need here. As we've just used il est, we can use elle est for it is for an object, or she is for a person. Elle est will be used for specific feminine objects, animals or people. For instance, tu as vu la voiture d'Amélie? Elle est belle. Did you see Amelie's car? It's nice. We know exactly what we're talking about, the car. Voilà ma nouvelle maison. Elle est très grande. Here's my new house. It's very big. Here, obviously, we mentioned before, you could have said c'est grand. But you want to mention the house, the specific house is big, not your feeling of it, the house. Therefore, you say elle est très grande. J'ai vu ta dernière vidéo. Elle est intéressante. I saw your latest video. It's interesting. Here you could have said c'est intéressant. The whole thing was interesting. My feeling of it was that it was interesting. But here again you want to be factual. You say, oh yeah, your video is interesting. Therefore, we're talking just about the video. There are situations when you can use both. I'm going to show you a few specific examples. For instance, if you say, le restaurant est loin d'ici, and somebody replies, non, c'est à 2 kilomètres. You could say, c'est à 2 kilomètres, or il est à 2 kilomètres. Because you notice the restaurant is not the last thing mentioned. Therefore, you could say both. C'est means the whole thing is 2 kilometers away, meaning you'll have the trip and then the restaurant. Or the specific thing we're talking about, which is the restaurant, is 2 kilometers away. Fine. And of course, bear in mind, in French, we don't know anything about miles, anything about imperial measurements. It's all meters and kilometers. Same for the next one. Imagine you're helping someone move something really heavy, like a desk, which is a masculine object. You can say, oh là là, c'est lourd. C'est lourd means it feels really heavy. Or you could say, oh là là, il est lourd, as in the desk is heavy. Either will go, depending what you want to say. In English, there's only one way of saying it, it's really heavy. Il est à qui, ce stylo? Il est à moi, or c'est à moi. Whose pen is this? It's mine. Here again, you could say it's mine or this is mine. That's why you can say c'est or il est. And that's about it. They're not normally interchangeable, so I've really tried to think about the few situations where you could use both, but there's not many of them. And that's it for now. Please give me a like if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. À bientôt!